beat you to it.
You did beat me to it.
I did.
Happy Thursday, everybody. The election is over. The exhaustion is finally starting to subside. The blisters are healing. The plantar fasciitis is basically gone. Just got some neck and back issues now, and that's about it.
Wow.
Whew.
Just right out of the gate with Debbie Downers, eh? Wow. So we could talk about election fraud. We could talk about the party system destroying the Canada. We could talk about the slow madness and descent into hell. But I thought we might switch it up and
give you all a break from election crap for tonight. That's
right. Yeah. Now, the subject we're going to be talking about isn't that much better, to be honest with you. But we're going to have...
Debbie Downer.
I was working around it. Be let me finish. So we're going to have some old friends and multiple time guests on, Todd, Michael Harris, David Stephan. They've been on the show before. They're going to be talking about their newest film, Epiphany. And I think, we could bring them right on, but I think let's play the trailer instead.
Let's play the trailer.
It was the morning of my 22nd birthday, and my mom had taken her life. I just remember looking at the floor and wishing that it would open up and swallow me so that I didn't have to feel that pain.
My mother's passing, I think, was really catalytic in my brother Joseph going into some darker places, becoming suicidal, homicidal. My older sister Autumn, she's in and out of the psych wards on a cocktail medication. It's not working for her.
I had heard years later from the children about this episode where she had attempted to drive our Ford Bronco into the river. They didn't understand what their mother was going through. That she would be prepared to remove herself from this life and all of the children with her. I made an appointment with a psychiatrist. She said, Mr. Stephan, what you see is what you've got. It doesn't get any better. And there's a very high potential here for suicide. My family is literally coming unhinged, and there's nothing I can do about it.
An Alberta company has finally won approval to market pills for bipolar disorder.
We learned very quickly that you could nutrate away the disorder with vitamins and minerals. It was like somebody threw a light switch on in my head. If there was ever an epiphany, I would have to say that would be it.
The day following, CTV News covering the first study that came out on Empower Plus, showing its profound effect. Health Canada says, okay, we need to shut this down.
All of a sudden we had Health Canada breathing down our neck. They came in with armed officers, guns drawn.
The question is, why would they put that much energy and money into persecuting a small player in what is a massive industry?
When you use excessive force, it's to send a message.
Where they're spending millions of dollars to challenge some small bit player, and you know that that is a threat to whatever they're trying to protect.
Wow. Well, without further ado, let's bring our good friends, David and Todd. Welcome to the show yet again.
Welcome, guys.
This is virtually your show at this point. Yeah. So many times, you may as well just take it over.
Yeah, actually, if you could take yourselves off the screen and make more room for us, that would be fantastic.
There we go. Okay.
So we can just interview each other. Oh, please come back.
Yeah. So welcome. So Epiphany, let's just get all the business out of the way first. Epiphany, a True Hope story. This is the prequel to your last movie, which you toured across Canada with, The People versus David and Collet Stephan. And this are your tour dates. These are your tour dates. You're starting tonight in London. You're actually showing it tonight, right now, as you speak. And you're coming across Canada, and you're heading, it looks like you're heading in BC there. So this is your second time through Canada with your second movie. Are you not sick of each other yet?
That's the question we keep getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we are so hopped up on True Hope, we don't know who we are.
Good answer.
Are you still swallowing like pills, or just bypassing and snorting it straight in at this point?
Endorphins are popping. It's incredible in here.
No, we're doing pretty good. I think I'm pretty good, but he might not be being honest with me. I don't know.
I'm just a
raw
great
dog
guy.
it.
I am a great guy, so I can tolerate anything.
Is this time coming across different from last time, or like the exhaustion, the dates, you didn't go through the states this time, did you? Or
Well, out of necessity, we did. We went through the states. We had 28 hours in the car yesterday with each other. It wasn't just yesterday, obviously, because 28 hours is more than a day.
We were going what we now refer to as on terrible. We were staying at the border near Thunder Bay. We went up, we drove until we hit a town called Marathon. The whole way there was not a sign saying that the road had been washed out since 6:30 a.m. There was an elderly policewoman working there telling us to turn it around and head back the other way. And the Northern Highway was out also. And so we went back through Thunder Bay down to where we started and then drove for another 18 hours. So in the end, it was 28 hours and we ended up in Windsor.
Wow.
Yeah, so definitely different that way. We've spent more time in the car together. The total tour is a whole week longer than the last tour. And Todd just said, schedule it as you want. And so I'm like, okay, I'm packing it. And I packed it into BC. Last time we did it, day 3 was Calgary.
Yeah.
And day 4 was Calgary last time. This time it was day 14.
Yeah. So so I packed a lot in. We went all the way up into Grand Prairie because the Grand Prairieites were like, hey, why didn't you come here the first time? You neglected us. What's up with that? So we went there and we stayed 3 days in there.
We ate yak.
Wow.
Wow.
You ate yak?
That was interesting.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what you said? You ate yak?
We ate yak.
Okay, good.
I'm not sure how that's relevant to the tour, but it was part of the tour.
That's awesome.
And you keep telling me, Todd, you're kind enough to send me shots throughout your trip, and some beautiful stuff you're seeing, guys, on your trip as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we've recently been insulting most of the places we've been, like Ontario now, which we've called unterrible. And then also the day before, David completely insulted the prairies.
That's good.
Well, I don't know how people do it. I bless them. They must have more tolerance than I do. But the prairies are just, I'm sorry, just driving across them is enough to go crazy. So I think
from a man who lives in the prairies.
Hey, I'm on the edge of the prairies. The mountains are at my doorstep. Right? They're right there, and it's a lot. Yeah. Anyways,
that's awesome.
But the best part about that 28 hours in the car, which was rotten, is when we came into Canada and gave the lady our passport, she said, "How long are you planning on staying?" We said, "In Canada?" Well, we're Canadian.
Yeah.
I think she also asked us what our business was here.
Yes, she did. Yeah, she did. But she's grilling us. We're from Canada. What are you talking about?
Our business is we live here.
We do whatever we want here.
Exactly. Wow. Well, I guess that's the Trudeau CBSA now, like trying to show some muscle and let Trump know it's okay, back off on tariffs because we got it now. Is that what's going on?
It was odd. It was really odd.
Yeah, it was easier getting into the States than getting back into our country.
I think it was the booster. I think she was heavily boosted to the 9s and missing part of her brain, which you can grow back. Actually, we found out recently.
Yes. Yep.
Oh.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of like the fine details of my the Q&A. And anyways, you
can grow brain. You can grow your brain back, and there's good scientific studies for that.
Meaning there's hope for even the worst of us.
The worst off of us. The worst off of us.
Slow down. I'm not there yet. Yeah.
Well, we are moving fast, aren't we? Well, we've been driving, and actually, I slept for 12 hours last night.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
While you're driving, or
I also got to eat a steak, so that was like glorious.
like from a cow or some other animal?
A cow steak. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried the yak. I worked my way through it. I don't recommend it. But
got it.
Good to know. All right. So you've killed the yak industry. You've killed the prairies. You've downed Ontario. Tourism's down just because of your tour. So we have nothing left but to talk about your movie, I think.
Okay, let's hit that. It's a fine film. You said something about it being mine and David's movie. David had nothing to do with it. but he is in it.
Awesome.
Oh, okay. But this is the second Stephan story that you've done. It's a
Right? This
prequel.
is the
So
prequel.
Look, it's him telling the stories. He's got the creative control. He just asked for an interview, and I just say what he wants me to say. It's all scripted, right?
Well, I just choose. You're like my puppet. When you say things I like, I use that.
okay, we got it. David will not speak while you're drinking water. I got it. So let's bring this up for a little bit. This is your tour, and you're going all through Ontario again. You're in London tonight. Elmer, what happened there?
So before I say that, this is what's left of the tour. So this is our 20th show tonight here in London.
Okay.
20th. Wow.
And then Aylmer is a hard one. We're not at liberty exactly to speak about what happened, but they are continuing to put a negative eye on the church there. And if you want to find out what's going on, I think mainstream media is actually also making them out to be bad guys around.
Yeah, there's probably something to do with public health and all that jazz, but we can't say too much, and we actually don't know too much other than the people of Elmer are fantastic. That Church of God, is awesome. And so they canceled out of kind of necessity in relation to some extenuating circumstances surrounding more government tyranny and propaganda.
Wow.
Okay.
Pastor Henry Hildebrand is just, they're on him big time. Since 2020, they have been on him and his son Herbert, and they are fabulous people.
Yes.
I worked with them many times, and they are incredible.
Very much so.
But they're fighters. They're fighters, and they don't give up and they don't give in. So, yeah.
So let's do that. We were excited for that. They make like their own homemade bread, and they have a lovely little green room where you can sit like a big star and enjoy yourself there. So
I had them come to Oshawa and do a church service at Lakeview Park, and the whole crew, all the women, the children, the choir, everybody came, and they brought the most amazing spread to feed like 400 people. It was incredible.
Yeah, amazing.
And wouldn't take a single dime for any of it. They're I can't say enough good things about the Church of God. No.
Yeah. So it's a shame that we're not going to be there, because we were really looking forward to that again.
Yeah.
Just in it for the food, eh? So tell us what's going on. Now we covered your last movie. Well, we've covered every single movie you keep shoving down our throats. But this is a prequel to the last movie, and this story is incredible. Like, David, I don't know how your family is still standing, to be honest with you. You're incredible. It's endurance. I don't know what it is. These half-wits will be gone sooner or later, so I think it's your strategy just to outlast them, hey?
Well, yeah, I mean, you just persist, and eventually it's interesting because Health Canada is coming back at us again, but it's because all the old dogs are out, and you have these new fresh guys and that have no idea, and they're coming back, and okay, well, you want to disturb the hornet nest again? Sure, let's do this. But yeah, it's interesting. You know, I guess a formula that could be laid out that'd be a blessing to the audience here is that that endurance really comes through, you know, spiritual nourishment and physical nourishment, which obviously the TrueHope supplements have been fantastic in relation to ensuring that PTSD doesn't set in and all of that, and making sure we have our wits about us, but then also just making sure that we're tapped in, that we're making sure that that we have a relationship, you know, with the Most High, and that's refreshing, and it gives us perspective. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the perspective is that it's not about this life, and it's not about having the comforts of life, so you can sacrifice and recognize that, hey, look, this life is not meant to build an empire. It's meant to be able to bless people. And so we just continue to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a really good reminder right now. People are licking their wounds right at the moment. Country feels are super divided. And just remember, God's in charge. Bible's just fulfilling itself. That, keep focused on what's important. And that's hard to do sometimes. So that's a really great reminder.
Yeah, just proper perspective changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We were saying that on election day. I woke up feeling like super calm, got in the kitchen, started baking and cooking, and just said to Chris, God's got it. He's got a plan. If I'm supposed to win, I'll win. If I'm supposed to lose, I'll lose. But at the end of the day, he called us to do this. We did it. And he's got a bigger plan set out for us. So let him take it from here. I'm going to continue cooking.
Yeah. So
do nothing is the message there, Jody. Do nothing.
Do nothing.
No, I was cooking.
Yeah.
It's just rejoice through food. That's what it was.
You do need to eat. Eating's so important.
Right.
Exactly.
Remember that, people. Take care of yourselves.
Well, yeah, feeding the volunteers. No, we often say that, like when people go, well, God's got it. And we say, no, God's got you.
Yeah.
Right. That's intentional. So you got to step up. And so many people are just not stepping up. So hence, congratulations for you two for actually going
Stepping
across
up.
the country. That's not what that means. You don't have to step up and move across the country.
No.
What you're doing.
I actually encourage people not to do what we're doing. It's just
right. Yeah.
It hurts.
Did you hit any snow up in Northern Ontario?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually the only place that we've hit snow in all of our travels.
That's not true. Red Deer. We spent the night in a trailer in Red Deer, and
yes.
sub-saboteur cut our power. We had no heat. We went down to sub-Arctic temperatures, and there was snow everywhere. There was like almost that much snow.
Yeah. Okay, well, there is some truth to that. There was snow on the ground from the day before. And yes, it was sub-Arctic temperatures, if you call -1 that. And it did get down to about 12 degrees in our trailer. And that's Celsius, not Fahrenheit. And Todd was in a sleeping bag, and I guess it wasn't enough for him.
Yeah, he's a Victoria boy.
Yeah. And what was interesting is that was the best sleep that I had on the whole trip. It was peaceful, no EMF. It was fantastic. And when I told Todd that was just the best sleep, I finally caught up on some sleep. Todd's like, it was the worst sleep. I didn't sleep. I was too cold. And he's in a sleeping bag. Same sleeping bag I was in. Not the same one. We had two. And I took the couch, by the way, and he took the bed.
I was tempted to pee the bag just to warm myself up.
It's only good for a little bit.
True.
Then it goes the other way.
It turns out that's true, Chris.
Experience. So Todd, you kept going with this movie. Do you want to just give us a little recap of your, the People versus David and Collet Stephan, and then come into this one? Just sort of give people an idea of what we're looking at here.
Sure. The People versus David and Collet Stephan is the story of David and his wife and the loss of their child Ezekiel, and then having, trying to figure out, because it was so mysterious what happened to Ezekiel, and then him looking into it, and then the government attacking him and basically trying to paint him as somebody who didn't care about their child, and that's why they passed. And so we that was such a amazing opportunity, because you had like CBC telling their lies, and then you had the court transcripts, the truth of what happened in court. So you could see right through these lies. It was amazing. Their lawyer said the only thing CBC got right was the name of the parties involved. And CBC hangs themselves in it. It's amazing, because we have them on record doing that, and we have the trial records. And so, so that was a great film for getting so many people that would normally think this is just garbage to actually go, there's the proof. Holy cow. Now I can believe it, because it. And so that was fantastic that way. But when we were touring across the country with that film last year, it just kept coming to me, you need to tell the prequel to this. Like, why does the government hate this family? Why does does Health Canada, why is Health Canada involved in a case like this? It makes no sense. And so then, and I already knew that story myself, because I'd known David's dad a lot longer than I've really known David. So I thought, I got to go back and tell that story now. And that's just where I was guided.
Yeah, the last movie made a lot of insinuations that this was because of a vendetta against the family from past stuff. So now you're coming back and telling that story. So amazing. David, I'm hesitant to let you talk, because last time we let you talk, I don't think we did not get away unscathed. We were bawling half the time. So, but also
he gives away too much of the film. So. But
I give away enough of the film so people want to go and watch.
I'm gonna monitor him. So I've started monitoring him.
He doesn't want me to give out the juicy details, but the fact of the matter is that the film tells the juicy details with visual representation in such a way that I can't even compete. So I say unbelievable stuff. People want to verify, is this guy full of it? Let's go watch the film.
Thankfully, he speaks way too fast, so people don't even know what he's saying.
And I do that from time to time.
I think your current relationship in your interview is a result of 20 hours in the car recently.
28, Chris, please.
It was 28 by the time we got out.
Yeah.
It's a birthing process. Yeah.
So yeah, let's have Davis make us cry.
Yeah. David, from your perspective, like, this is, you've lived through this stuff.
Yeah.
And I alluded to it earlier. I have no idea how you guys are still standing. Maybe just a brief bullet point, not giving too much away of the stuff that your family has had to go through. You've been vilified. You've been attacked. You've been harassed. I think the trailer, the most shocking part is they come out with guns. They're armed for a supplement, so, firsthand point of view.
Yeah. So I guess as a family, what we've endured, I grew up in a home that I wouldn't wish any child would ever have to grow up in. I guess that's kind of what propels me to move forward with the business side of things and ensuring that other families don't have to endure that through the solutions that have been discovered. But yeah, so multiple suicides in our family, starting with my grandfather and then my mother after she got on Prozac. After 3 weeks of being on Prozac, she took her own life. Science would come out about a decade later showing that Prozac can increase your risk of suicide by 8 to 12 times. Mm-hmm. And being a class of SSRIs are known on average to increase your risk of suicide by 2 times. Mm-hmm. So it's just dangerous business. And unfortunately, my mom fell prey to that. But then, phenomenal solution coming out after.
But just to stop you, she was being tormented at the time too, right? Do you want to get into that?
To the Rev Canada stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. So Revenue Canada had come at my parents as well and had really set the stage with the amount of stress and everything that they laid on my parents by putting us into a state of hardship. And what they were doing was actually illegal. It's against their own policies. And so that would actually become the beginning of our battles with the government, because in January of 1994 is when my mother took her life. But then by 1997, they came back and my father had some time to heal at that point in time. But they came back at us and they did a false reassessment on my deceased mother. Now, in my mother's suicide note, she listed to my dad to take the insurance money and to pay off Revenue Canada. And so this was where her mindset was at during that particular time. And so now that they come back, my dad says, oh, hell no, we're not doing this. So he launched a battle against them and went national with it. He knew their policies. He knew where they had gone wrong. And it ended up on national talk shows across the country where he's going head to head with the minister who's in charge of Revenue Canada and all that, and deputy directors, that type of thing. And he's battling it out with these guys on national radio and exposing them for their corruption. And it turns out that we weren't an exclusive story, that there was many other stories like this. So then it became a rally cry for a lot of other people, and it became a groundswell throughout 1998, 99. And that's when Jason Kenney, who was a young MP at that point in time, would actually collaborate with my father. And he ended up drafting up the Taxpayers Protection Act, which would largely choke Revenue Canada back, restrict them from being so egregious with the Canadian populace. And then ironically, Revenue Canada shortly thereafter would rebrand themselves as the Canada Revenue Agency. So perfect timing after they just got a massive black eye. And that's actually when the first documentary ever came out of my family, was in 1998. And that was from CBC Quebec. And it was a positive documentary.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah, shockingly. So that was the only good piece that CBC would ever do on us, but it was CBC Quebec, so maybe a little bit different, but they did a mini documentary on us over the tax battle. So that was really, that was the 90s battles that we were enduring. And so at this point in time, there's a lot of mental illness in my family with my siblings and myself included. And that's when my father would end up out of desperation, exhausting everything available to him through the medical system to no avail. And then he would spend a lot of time in fasting and prayer, just desperately pleading for restoration for his family. And that answer would come. That answer would then go on to not just bless our family, but it would go on to bless a lot of other people. And it would start to get scientific validation. And after the first study came out in October of 2000, it made national television. And that's when Revenue Canada came in. Not Revenue, sorry, Health Canada, our new friends, Health Canada came in. And they shut down that study. They shut down a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial that was also about to take place that the Alberta government was funding over $500,000 into. And that's when everything would just lead up to the point that they were telling my father that he should move south of the border if he wanted to continue doing what he was doing. And that's when my father said, you know what, I'm not gonna cater to you guys. I'm gonna continue to bless other Canadians like my family's been blessed. And so he just ignored them. And then one thing would lead to another, and Health Canada would then start to attack. Guns drawn raid, seizures of the product at the border, putting Canadians in harm's way, being warned that they were going to cause suicides. Suicides did occur. The Canadian Mental Health Association was doing press releases every time that a suicide would happen to show what Health Canada was doing to the Canadian populace. Health Canada finally, about 6 months later, bowed to the pressure and let the product back across the border like they should have been doing all along, because they actually had no legal right to restrict it. And then they would come and charge us, and we'd end up at the courts with them. And that it just became about a 12-year battle with Health Canada.
Wow.
And so that's kind of the beginnings of our activism as well. The activism actually started when I was 14. I remember being at the Harry Hayes building, the Revenue Canada building in Calgary, with picket signs and the media all around and stuff like that. It was actually really uncomfortable as a 14-year-old to be on camera, and then eventually it just become the norm. And then I don't even know what to do if the cameras aren't shining. But yeah, and then that's what would lead up to the story of the People versus David and Collet Stephan. That after the Health Canada battle came to a close, my son would pass away, and it would be shrouded in all sorts of confusion. I'm hesitant to use the word mystery, but confusion. Nobody was being forthcoming. None of the doctors were being forthcoming, and it just became a big mess to the point that after he passed, after 5 days of being in the Alberta Children's Hospital, my wife and I ordered an autopsy report because we wanted some sense of closure, because there was no answers being given. A lot of requests to have him donate his organs, to which we're saying, no, he's going to come out of this, and we're definitely not donating his organs. But they persisted on that a few times. No clear answers as to what was going on. Working diagnosis, bacterial meningitis, but they refused to do the testing on it, a spinal tap, saying he's too sensitive or unstable to do it. And yet they're saying, let's pull the plug and donate his organs. But yet they're saying we're not going to test him because it might kill him to do a spinal tap. So they refused to qualify whether it's bacterial meningitis or not. And that was for a clear reason, because he didn't have it. And they would need that narrative to work with to absolve themselves of responsibility for their criminal negligence, or Alberta Health Services criminal negligence. And it would just become a big battle that eventually, by the time we got the autopsy report, 8 months later, by the way, that's how long it would take. We ordered it the week after his passing, and it took eight months to get it. That by the time I'm reading it, I am concerned that they're going to charge us because of how much vaccine information was in it that seemed irrelevant. It didn't seem like it was fitting unless you were going to use it as a document in the courts to try to set a vaccine precedent. And so that's exactly what my gut feeling was right after I read it. And I went and told my wife, I said, I think they're going to charge us. And this is in early December of 2012. And sure enough, by early February of 2013, the RCMP is phoning us, and I'm pretty sure I knew what it was all about, so I'm not answering the phone calls. I'm not engaging with them. And they finally wrangled us in, and they laid charges on us February 12th, 2013, almost a year after his passing.
Wow.
Yeah, insane. And you can go back and watch that movie now. It's up on your website at Matador Films, is that right?
Correct. If you like it, leave a donation, please, 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 please. And if you hate it, just write boo or something, some angry comment.
Nice plug.
Yeah. As you talk about this, especially with your family story, it rings so similar to the ostrich farm in BC right now.
Yes.
And I don't know if you're keeping up on that story, but the ostrich...
We were there, and we didn't have a lot of people at the show. Well, we did have a pretty good turnout, but a lot of people were actually at the trial that Lee Turner was doing to try to save the ostriches in Vancouver. So there was a lot of people MIA. So that was going on over there, but I don't know where it's at now.
No, but you're familiar with the fact that they were using the ostrich eggs for testing and found out that they had immunity properties and whatnot. So they were actually being tested, and they're in lab trials. And not only does the ministry want to take and cull their ostriches, but they want to take all the tests. They want to take all the samples. They're trying to seize everything, including all of the eggs and whatnot. So it just rings so close to what you're telling us. You know,
why do they hate us?
What's that?
Why do they hate us?
Well, they don't want us healthy. That's for sure. Yeah. So, you know, anybody that has a cure to make people healthy that isn't going to make the pharmaceutical companies rich, they've got to do away with, right?
Well, that's it. Okay.
Well, I think, you know, as the sooner that we embrace that this is a death cult that we live in, the easier it'll get for us to navigate and discover why it is that they do what they do. And that becomes quite evident that we've been using that. I mean, that's a bold statement that we live in a death cult, but just take a look at this. Like the very premise of this story.
You can get killed for free.
Well, yeah, exactly. You can get killed for free, but it's not free. The government is actually using your tax dollars to fund killing people, saying, hey, look, let's go maid on this, right? You want maid? We'll give you maid. Yeah. It sounds so nice, right? Who doesn't like a good maid, right?
I'd like a maid.
It's just really strange. The whole of it, they put this soft, you know, nice, touchy thing on maid and I've seen it. I mean, my wife's grandmother went maid. Had made, and she was sold on it. And when she rejected it the first time, the doctor was angry.
Yes.
Why would the doctor be angry? You just said, I have second thoughts about this, and maybe I don't want to die. And he's angry, and he starts to try to pressure you into it. That's really strange to me. Like really strange.
Oh yeah.
So how much are the doctors making off of maid? That's what I want to know.
There's got to be something going on for the fact that he was offended over the fact that she had just had second thoughts about taking her own life. That's whack. So when we take a look at it, the government is literally funding millions and millions of dollars every year to promote MAID. It was 5% of the total deaths in Canada last year. That's over 15,000 people. And yet they're spending millions of dollars on the flip side to prevent access to natural health products like ours that will make you feel good about life, that will prevent you from being depressed, that will prevent you from considering taking your own life, that will help you do well under crisis, under tragic circumstances,
right?
And yet they're saying no, we don't want you to have that. We're gonna spend millions of dollars to try to destroy that and prevent you from having that. And yet we're gonna spend millions of dollars to channel you into committing suicide, and we're gonna do it for you.
Yeah.
That's not.
And you alluded to the organ donation program, and let's not, you know, it's all about marketing. People just it's all marketed on compassion. Let's not forget they make money from organs as well. So so let's not overlook that.
Yep.
Follow the money.
Right. Exactly. And that's the worst part. It's murder with marketing at this point, right? And that's where we're at. So I mean, what a story. What a story. And the thing is, when we were only went on a few dates with you guys and saw, not dates. I mean, we didn't go for dinner. But the consistent thing is, we're watching at the end, people will come up to you, David, and they would talk to you, and they're so inspired by, not only your courage, but your family's endurance on this, and that you would stand up and fight. And so many people were inspired by that. And it was mind boggling to see how many people had similar stories and they wanted to come up and talk to you about that. So what you're doing is rare, and Todd, that you're amplifying is amazing, but what you're doing is rare. People don't have the fortitude to stand firm anymore. I don't think. I don't see a lot.
Especially for years.
Yeah.
It's easy to stand firm for a few months, maybe a year, but you guys have had to stand firm, 12 years for this, and 4 or 5 years for your son. And now they're back at it again and coming at you again.
I think one of the greatest things we're seeing out of the tour, which I expected, and it's really awesome to watch it unfold, is the fact that people, like, the micronutrient that they created, it came out of just somebody trying to save his family. Didn't come out of a guy like, I want to start a business. Ooh, let's go over there. That looks like there's a place for us to make money. It didn't come from that. And it started just to spread out into the community. And so this film, I think, is amazing at telling you that story and sharing with you, and you see it, and you know, like, these guys are honest, good people that are trying to share something with you that's really going to help you. And so you see more and more people start to really get what this is, the power behind it, and that it's like divine. You know, the story is totally divine. So I think from this tour, that's one of the best things I'm seeing. We also are people, you know, letting them know about the NHPPA, right, and how to fight back against Health Canada and the things that are coming at the end of the year that are going to rob you of your right to certain natural health products. So both of those things are fabulous things that are coming out of them, and we're getting people off of pork too. So be prepared for us coming to your town and taking your pork from you.
Oh man, we pre-cooked a whole bunch of bacon for you guys too. So
feed it to the dogs.
I guess
I'm gonna rub it on my body and suntan with it.
I think if I go through the meat sweats when you get here, you'll know why. So, you know, my absolute favorite story, and I'm not going to give it away here. My absolute favorite story is your dad's run-in, David, with the Mormon Church. And I'm assuming that's made it into the movie.
No.
Oh, you did
Oh,
not.
so you can tell the story.
What do you mean you run in with the Mormon Church? I'm interested in this.
Where your dad wiped his servers.
The wiping of the servers when they were gonna take the formula. I don't know if that's something you want to talk about.
No, that's not the Mormon Church. No. Those were people that had connections very high up in the Mormon Church. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, there was that did not make it into the film. But there's so that brings up an interesting topic. It's kind of like my dad puts it as like the Lord of the Rings. Remember when Frodo's got the ring and everyone else is like coveting it, right? It's like, ooh, the power, right? Boromir, whatever. It's the same type of thing, that there was such a profound nature to this formula that one, he entangles himself, my dad does, with a very large nutraceutical company out of the United States that at that time had great chelation technology for its day back in the 90s. And they've got a contract in place, and it's simple. We're independent, but yet we're contracting with them. They're manufacturing the minerals for us so that they're chelated. Well, this company recognizes the profound nature of this formula and they covet it. And all of a sudden, one day, my dad just gets notification that him and David Hardy are cut out of the picture. And so he went kamikaze on the whole of it and said, look, you're going to undo all of this. We're going to play fair. By 9 in the morning, I'm going to hear back from you. Otherwise, I'm posting the whole formula and all the technology up online free of charge for anybody to go and copy and work with, right? Well, let's just say that he got the response he was looking for. And so he prevented a hostile takeover there. But then he teams up with, at one point in time, with another company just shortly after that to do the manufacturing. And so they start manufacturing, and then they get entangled in business with them where they're actually helping to take on support, and they've got, database established, and it's kind of through a central network. And these were the ones that were high up in, or that were introduced to us from those that were really high up in the Mormon Church, and were actually connected through, family. And so what happened was, my dad's trusting, because he's like, hey, look, these are like top-notch people. They're way up in the church and they're this and that, right? Way up in the Mormon Church. And so anyways, what happens is my dad gets the impression right before a weekend that they're about to do something really, really dirty, and that they're going to do a hostile takeover again. So he gets all hands on deck, and they go onto the database, and throughout the entire weekend, they copy every single client file with all the information they needed. And sure enough, Monday morning rolls around, and the one of the representatives of the company notifies them that they're no longer part of any of this. They've just cut my dad and David Hardy out of it again. And they said, now, and you're locked out of our servers. You no longer have access to any of this. And my dad laughs and says, it's a good thing that I was warned by the Spirit as to what was about to happen, because go check your logs as to what happened over the weekend. We copied every single file. And they were ripping mad because they thought that they had stole the whole business, but we already had duplicated the business. And then they came out with a Me Too product that was no longer branded under the TrueHope logo, but had all the same minerals and vitamins. But the problem is, is that they weren't manufacturing the minerals. We were getting them chelated and processed to increase the bioavailability from a different manufacturer who would then send them to that particular manufacturer where they would do the final blend. So they didn't understand the technology behind the minerals. And so here they're thinking they're copying it ingredient for ingredient, and it looked the same on the label, but it wasn't producing the same results. So the business floundered and never went anywhere.
Wow.
So numerous hostile takeovers attempts to basically steal the formula, steal the clientele. And it's been quite a battle zone. So my father finally realized after everything was said and done that he had to be independent. And what was interesting about that time is that they were really struggling financially. Nobody was even making a good profit at that point in time in the early days of the business. And so here's my father right after that last hostile attempt, or the attempt at a hostile takeover. And he's saying, what do I do? And everybody's just feeling hopeless about it, because how are we going to get this manufactured? How are we going to afford to do this? And by the end of the week, my father had gotten over $500,000, I believe it was, fundraised, like through like selling shares, but they're non-voting shares, so they have no control. But he had just put it out there, and all these people are like, yep, let's keep this thing going. And so all of a sudden they had all this capital, almost $500,000 or just over $500,000, something like that, about the $500,000 mark, and they're up and running again by the end of the week.
Wow.
So it was just an absolute blessing. I mean, when we look at it, when you look at the TrueHope story, and you look at the fact that we're still in existence today, it'd be a hard thing to deny the existence of God. It just would, because we shouldn't be here. Not after all the battles, not after all the attempts at hostile takeovers, the years of poverty that we went through during that time while it was in its inception. It was just one miracle after the next, after the next.
God has a plan, and when he wants it to play out, it plays out.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what happens, it plays out. So, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, agree. Yeah. So, so that's awesome. I'm going to throw this up again. And then what? Straight shot home after Thunder
Duncan?
Bay? 3 more dates and you're done?
Yeah, it looks like we might have a May 5th in there coming up. I just had somebody reach out about that and ask if they could fill in May 5th. So we'll know in the next day or two.
Okay.
About 6 nations or something, if I recall properly. They were asking about that. So we'll see. So you might find a May 5th date popping in there.
Or maybe Jody's backyard.
Or possibly Jody's backyard. So
Or Jody's backyard.
Yeah, we can make that happen. Doesn't sound as exciting as Willie's Man Cave.
Yeah, that's going to be off the hook.
I love it.
Yeah, we might just be there for that one too.
Wow.
So, yeah, amazing. Just amazing. So,
yeah, we were talking with Dan today. Dan out in North Bay.
Oh, yeah, he just reached out to us. Finally.
Yes. He was caught up in the campaigning as well. He was helping someone else run. So we were crossing our notes. What'd you experience? What'd you experience? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, by the way. And he's like, thanks for the reminder. So.
Yeah, it seems like maybe there was some funny business.
So there's a possibility we'll be in North Bay on the 11th as well.
Yeah, possibly we'll be in the North Bay on the 11th as well.
But I'm interested about the funny business. What are you talking about?
But he's interested in the funny business. The voting. I think there might have been some voting fraud. There might maybe our system isn't set up to play fair. I don't know.
What?
Maybe. Maybe black and white laws aren't really black and white laws. Maybe they're a little bit flexible depending on who you are.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, I may have a video coming out myself soon about that very thing.
Can't wait to see it.
Let's go over the dates just again. They've been up there. You're in London tonight, so that's a no-go anymore. You're in Dundas, Ontario on May 3rd.
Yes, please bring your own chair if you show up to that.
Okay.
That's going to be a pretty cool, stellar event under one of those event tents.
Near a meat shack.
Oh, cool.
I'm in. Again, I'm in.
That's so cool.
And so Dundas there.
Yeah.
Kitchener.
Yeah, that's with Mark Chozy's people.
Yep. Yeah, they set it up.
Oh, fabulous. I love Mark. He's amazing.
Yeah,
is he going to be there with you guys or no?
I don't know. I would I would
He
suspect,
better be.
I would suspect so, because he was the one that initiated the whole of it and had his contacts make it happen. So
Oh, fabulous.
I would presume he's going to be there.
Yeah, he better be there.
That's awesome. Cameron at Willie's Man Cave. Now, what is Willie's Man Cave exactly?
We don't even know.
Anybody who's ever driven by it will know what it is, because it's just it's amazing. It's, you know how Jody's van is with all of the stickers and everything?
Yes, I'm aware of
a
her
whole property like that with massive signage and everything. Oh yeah. So Jody, your van will fit right in.
Does he have a deep fryer?
Oh, wow.
I have no idea. Why is that relevant?
I think every man cave should have a deep fryer.
Well, you'll have to ask him. You'll have to ask Willie.
A deep fryer. Gotta have chicken wings and french fries.
I would say in a man cave.
So you're in Newmarket on Wednesday at Lion and Sun. You're returning to Lion Sun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kingston on May 8th, Thursday, and then Ottawa, the Bikers Church. That's on a Friday night.
Yep.
That's awesome. I
That'll
love the
be fun.
Bikers Church.
Yeah.
Yep, looking forward to that.
Now, is that a Saturday night?
That is Saturday
Yeah,
evening.
Chris said Friday, but he was wrong.
May 10th?
May 10th is a Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
So someone here was wrong naming the names.
And I just want to put out there, like, Bikers Church, nobody got stabbed last year
Yeah, it's perfectly safe.
that I know of.
Yeah.
I tried, but they took my knife away.
I mean, arm yourself for sure. If you're going there, bring a handgun or something, but you probably won't have to use it.
There's a good chance you won't need to use it, but you know the old saying is, if you're prepared, you won't be scared. So just come prepared.
You're better off bringing your coffee and a pool cue than you are a gun.
Right. Legal disclaimer.
Okay, maybe not
the
gun,
church.
but at least a good utility pocket knife.
I think she's suggesting we have fights with pool cues.
The pool cue.
Oh,
You break
sure.
it over a guy's back.
It's more civil, I guess.
Yes.
I am sending this clip to Rob and Melissa, just so you know.
Good. Yeah. I don't even know who that is. And Robin Melissa, that was a joke.
And then back heading into the north in Thunder Bay.
Possibly North Bay on the 11th, possibly.
Okay. Maybe at 11th date. Vickers Heights Community Center in Thunder Bay, and then you're back into non-Ontario land, Regina in
back into the
on
prairies.
May 14th.
The prairies,
Lethbridge,
where
May
they must be
15th.
better people than I, and yeah, Todd.
Not
because
possible to be
there's
better
no
than
way,
me.
There's no way we could ever live there, so they have to be better than us.
Not me.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, their fields in July and August are gorgeous. All the yellow canola is so pretty.
Don't eat it.
Don't touch it. Yeah.
No, we don't eat it. I'm just saying it's very pretty.
Hey,
Use it in your shock absorbers.
the stuff's terrible. It brings in the canola beetles and then it eats your gardens. Or they eat your
Oh.
gardens. Yeah.
Huh.
It's just terrible. Just
I
terrible.
didn't know that. It's so pretty. It's
It's
yellow
pretty.
and it's bright, and after nothing but nothingness, all of a sudden you see this bright yellow, and you're like,
Yeah.
so pretty. It's
all
like Wizard of Oz and the poppy fields. You're like, so pretty.
I think you're thinking of Afghanistan.
No,
Yeah,
Wizard of Oz.
Or Afghanistan,
Hey,
where the good poppies come from.
that's right. Either way, you're off to see the wizard. So, yeah. So if they want to get tickets, they can get tickets at Matadorfilms.ca. Correct?
That is correct. We encourage you to pay cash at the door, keep a cash society going. But yes, if you must, because you live out in the woods like some kind of hermit and you want to come to the show, you want to secure a seat, sure, buy a ticket.
Otherwise, cash is king.
Okay.
I don't think hermits have internet though.
That's probably true. Yeah, just drive in.
Just
Don't be afraid. We drove 28 hours yesterday. You wusses that live 3 hours away, you better drive, or we'll come and we'll choke you.
Hey, no, at the Edmonton event, Spruce Grove, there was people that drove over 3 hours.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Those are good people.
And you know what? They didn't regret it one bit.
Because they didn't get it choking.
Hey, last time we drove with you guys to Ottawa and then came home the same night. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is true. It's funny because, Todd and I used to live 10 minutes from each other on Vancouver Island. Right. And it's a shock here. It's a culture shock because they're 3 hours to anywhere in Ontario, and
They're
I'm
the other
saying,
end of the island.
yeah, I'm saying like if it's over 2 hours, we contemplate hotels.
Yeah.
Like we that's a day trip for
He
us.
thinks we're crazy. I'm like, yeah, let's go to Niagara Falls for the day and then we'll come home. And he's like, what? We're not staying? No, it's only 3 hours.
Right.
He's like,
I'm used
what?
to 15 minutes. 15 minutes to everywhere where we
That's
live.
enough. Yeah, that is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
I
getting
think-
back to Fantasy Island.
I'm pretty sure you're advocating for 15-minute cities right now, are you not? You're laying out the foundation for them.
That's what we're doing. Yeah, we're
Put
what
your
are
big
we?
boy
State
pants on.
actors.
Put your big boy pants
we're-
on.
Yeah.
Man up.
3 years of reputation down the tubes. Thanks,
The
Todd.
funny thing about that is I think we are already living in 15-minute cities. We're just not trapped in them. And I think
Exactly
that's the
right.
part
Yeah.
people miss.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It's just when they want to keep you there, that's when it starts to get. We
Yeah.
disagree.
Just so you know, you can't leave. Oh.
Oh yeah, no.
or you need to ask permission to leave. And if you leave without permission, we're taking money from your bank accounts.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
your credit card won't work outside of
The city.
your zone.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so there's that. Anyway.
So, I wanted to invite Mark Carney up to the show in Vanier at the Bikers Church.
That'd be nice.
Sure, why not?
No, you don't want to alert him to the True Hope product at all. He is
Well, don't worry, Health Canada's still coming at us anyways as it is, so we're not.
And maybe
off the radar.
he'll see the show and he'll get it. Maybe he'll get a hug.
No,
Well,
he'll throw more money at Health Canada to fight you guys because it's kind of the opposite message that he wants to send to Canadians.
Yeah,
See
it's
what I mean?
hilarious hypotheticals because nobody's really, keying in on the fact that he's just going to burst into flames the second he steps into church. So, there is that as well.
He wouldn't even make through the door. Yeah, that's
No.
Poor Mark.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like he even wanted to live in Canada because he hasn't been here for a very long time. But he's back, baby.
Back long enough to move his business to the States.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
he's back, but didn't they call a recess in the house? They're not even in the house yet.
No, they're not.
I used to love recess.
Every time he gets promoted, he calls a recess. And it's like, wait a minute. Like, I know you're collecting a paycheck now. Are you ever going to show up for work? Or is it just permanent recess and a raise? And a raise,
The elementary school dream, permanent recess.
right?
Free lunch.
Politics is for you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's your thing.
Oh,
All right. Well, we're going to see you in a few
Yeah.
days. You're
Yeah.
coming here and
Yeah.
we get to hang out with you.
Yeah,
Finally.
eat up the pool, put away the pork.
Okay. Or put the pork in the pool. Who knows?
Heat up the pool.
We'll see which way the party goes
Ah.
here.
The pool's not open yet.
No.
Well, you got a few days.
Yeah.
My wife packed my swimming trunks. I got to use them somewhere.
You can use the hot tub.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
Todd will be too cold, and I've heard his method of warming up, so no thank you. No thank you.
Well, we have to, any minute here, we have to get back to the movie and
Yeah.
go do a Q&A.
It is that time. Yeah.
So-
So, all right. Looking forward to seeing you in a few days. Again, go to Matador Films for tour dates, tickets. It's still going on. And, I know enough of this story to say that this will definitely be worth your time. Go
Yeah.
out, support indie films. You'll not get the truth if you don't support these films and these filmmakers. So if you want the truth and you truly care about that, then you need to help out with the front lines and help out and support this thing like crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thanks for having us on. Odessa did a show with us, which was fantastic. You guys have done a show. People were reaching out to Shadow Davis again this year. They reached out to him last year for the People versus David and Collet Stephan. Shadow Davis wouldn't have us on. His words were they're too controversial. I'm not sure how that works if you're like doing an alternative show.
That's the basis of alternative media, is to provide controversial viewpoints.
Yeah. And
Kinda.
he was posting himself as a lion last year, but now I guess he's the cowardly lion. Going back to the Wizard of Oz, tying it all in here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've promoted The Wizard of Oz more than we have your movie throughout this whole thing.
And it is a fine film, The Wizard of Oz.
I
Starring
agree.
Shadow
A lot of
Davis as the
messages.
Cowardly Lion.
There you
right.
go. A
So hopefully
lot of
Shadow
messages.
Davis grants the opportunity to redeem himself.
I'm sure we'll be on a show anytime soon.
Yeah, put the pressure on Shadow. Tell him you want to see this. Why not? But play it smart. Don't get shadow banned. Ha. Like we
On
are.
that note, throw down the mic.
Yeah, that's right. Good night, everybody. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We will definitely look forward to seeing you and get to Matador Films, see those dates, see that movie, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
All right, everybody. We're going to head out. Oh, by the way, this is pre-recorded. So I forgot to mention that. Okay. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.